Hello and welcome to Catholics Matter. Welcome to the Church in the Desert Southwest from the Diocese of Phoenix, where tremendous things are happening. One thing we've never really had going for us in the Southwest because of the rapid growth we've experienced over the last several decades, we've never had a Catholic university, here, in Arizona. Until now, we've had quite an interesting development occur where the largest public institution in the United States is teaming up with a Catholic university in the middle of North Dakota to provide some tremendous opportunities for Catholic higher education right here. And we've got the president of the University of Mary, Father Jim Shea. Jim, it's good to have you. Welcome.
Great
good
to
see
be here.
you.
Thanks, Rob. Great to be here.
Tell us about this tremendous, now this really is a revolutionary, agreement struck between Arizona State University and the University of Mary. Tell us how this all came about.
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity for students. As you mentioned in your introduction, Rob, there's been a question for a long time as how Catholic higher education could come to the Valley of the Sun. There are more than 250 Catholic colleges and universities in the United States of America. It's a tremendous heritage, and the service that Catholic universities and colleges have provided to the fabric of our society in the United States is really tremendous. And the fact that here we are in one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country.
4 million people.
In an incredible place which is full of Catholics all over the place, and no Catholic college or university. This was a real perplexity. And so I'm president of the University of Mary in North Dakota, and we had some connections here and there with the diocese, with Bishop Olmsted, and that began a conversation about how could the University of Mary be involved here. We began with involvement in the Catholic secondary school system here, talking about some different things that we could do. We've had sort of a small, steady stream of students in our nursing program, for our football programs, those types of things, who came up to Bismarck to go to university at the University of Mary, but never anything really substantial. And then we launched, in coordination with the diocese, a master's program in education for teachers in Catholic high schools and Catholic grade schools.
I remember it well,
That was a wonderful thing too. But we said, what more could we do? So we began to consider what it would look like for us to have a full-fledged satellite campus here in Phoenix. As we were getting those things ready, I came across the strategic plan of President Michael Crow of Arizona State University, where he talks about Arizona State University, which is the largest public institution of higher learning in the country.
Dr. Crow's a visionary.
It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So he said that the new American university is going to be a place of deep engagement with the immediate needs of the community that they live in.
The future's partnering.
Right.
Yeah.
The future's partnering, especially with the private sector, and that the student needs to be at the center. And when I saw that, I thought there might be possibilities here. And so we began talks with Arizona State University about what it would mean to collaborate with them to offer academic programs for ASU students. And we thought about all of the different offerings. ASU has tremendous offerings in everything, from botany to chemistry to business to horticulture to everything. And we thought, what about Catholic studies? Because we've got a new Catholic studies program at the University of Mary. What about theology? These are two things. They've got women's studies, they've got Chicano studies, they've got Jewish studies, but they don't have Catholic studies and they don't have theology. And so we thought, what would it look like for an Arizona State University student to be able to take some courses from the University of Mary, or actually earn a full major or minor from the University of Mary in these areas? And that got the conversation going. And I'll tell you, it's been a wonderful thing and tremendously fruitful. Even here in the early stages of it, we've had extraordinary interest in this new initiative.
Exactly. Well, this agreement was just struck early 2012.
That's
so
right.
This is real recent, and you've already had a tremendous response.
No, we've had a great response, and it's all about serving the needs of students. In other words, if I'm an ASU student now, I have more educational opportunities and an opportunity for Catholic higher education, and really in the end, some of the best that the Catholic intellectual tradition has to offer. A theology degree, of course, or theology classes allow a person to study God and nature and the things of God and answer some of the most, or at least gestured answers for the most enduring questions institutions of human life.
Talk about now Catholic studies.
Catholic studies is a whole other thing. So theology is I mean, that's the old legitimate field of study that we've always had. In fact, the earliest
Queen of the sciences.
The queen of the sciences. The first universities were established for theology and philosophy, all of that.
Exactly.
Catholic studies is a more recent development in the world of higher education, and that examines Catholic influence in everything, in art, architecture, literature, history, law,
music,
film, music, everything.
everything.
So it's really a study of Catholic culture, more or less, and the influence of Catholic culture for good upon society, upon culture. And so that's sort of it's more of a cutting edge development. And those are two great programs.
We're going way back in history, but like, when I graduated from high school, I looked at perhaps going to a Catholic. I really wanted to go to a Catholic college.
Yeah.
And the cost was preclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you've got your parents sitting here in the state of Arizona now, and they're looking at costs as well. The economic situation, it isn't good.
Right.
And now you've got this tremendous opportunity. What do you got to say to them?
First of all, the University of UMary is the most affordable, serious Catholic university in the country. Even on our Bismarck campus, the annual tuition is about $13,000, which is about half of what most private or Catholic colleges or universities in the country charge.
Easily.
So we're very affordable. Down here at Arizona State University, we're going to be charging per credit rates of about $430, I think, per credit. And that, again, that's right on par with what Arizona State is charging. In other words, for out-of-state students, they'll charge more than we're charging. In other words, we've got a really affordable opportunity here for students. And now students here in the Valley of the Sun can get a Catholic higher education in a certain sense by going to Arizona State, by paying public tuition and fees, and by simply adding to that with a University of UMary education. It's a great opportunity. Great.
Have you experienced, we live, of course, in times when there's a great deal of concern about, church versus state, separation and all that.
Right.
And, how would you negotiate that? I mean, because there will, of course, be people wondering, how is this even possible?
Right.
Is it a conflict? I don't see that there is.
Arizona State University and the University of UMary are two regionally accredited institutions of higher learning.
From the same accrediting agency.
Same accrediting
yes.
agency. We're both with the Higher Learning Commission in Chicago.
Sure.
And so we're regionally accredited institutions. The University of UMary is a legitimate institution of higher learning. We grant degrees which are recognized by Arizona State University. Our credits transfer. And they'll have to examine each of the courses and all of that. But the fact of the matter is that our purpose is academic, and theology and Catholic studies are legitimate fields of study. Not only that, I'm aware of the fact that there's a pretty lively conversation in our time about church-state and what all of that means. And what I'm saying, I'll answer the question by saying this. If you want an example of how church and state can work together for a clear, common good, you should look at this collaboration.
Absolutely.
I think it's an indisputable example of how church and state can work together for the good. And this benefits students, and it's about students. And when institutions can get their egos out of the way and get their agendas off the table and simply hunker down and serve students and their needs, that's a wonderful thing.
You know what, ASU has also partnered with the Mayo Clinic, in terms of of medical school, capacity. So partnering, as Dr. Crow says, it's the wave of the future. And church and state could be partners.
Right.
Yes. They can be for the good of the human person.
Right, and I think that that's always been the broader Catholic view of things, that the state has a particular function that's not co-opted by the church, and the church has a particular function as well, which is not co-opted by the state, and that these things should be able to speak to each other, and that the conversation should cause a deeper vibrancy and a deeper sense of culture, meaning, purpose, and a better life for the citizens of both. And so I think this is a tremendous example of that. I'm proud to be a part of it.
The classes themselves will be taking place right in the heart
Right at All Saints Newman Center.
Right at All Saints Newman Center,
That's right.
the Catholic Newman Center at ASU, which is right across the street from the brains of the university administration.
Right. And so that adds a whole nother level of dynamism. In other words,
Totally.
and you and I have talked about this, Rob. The fact of the matter
exciting.
is that what the University of Mary has to bring is what a Catholic university brings to the great project of evangelization. And then a Newman Center is involved in the project of evangelism in a distinct way from that. And these types of things have an inner dynamism within themselves which really can play off of each other, meaning that we're in the process of creating something incredibly exciting.
It really is. Now, and it's a little different, I suppose, than necessarily a satellite campus. Now, of course, the University of Mary, of course, has satellite campuses in a few different places, including Rome.
Right. So each of our different initiatives are a little bit distinct. The one at Arizona State University and the one in Rome are distinct from the others. Most of our satellite campuses, Montana, Kansas, Missouri, those are to serve the adult learner. In other words, we offer master's programs and degree completion programs on the baccalaureate level for working adults in those places. And that's a tremendously successful portion of what the University of Mary does. The ASU collaboration is to serve the undergraduate students at Arizona State University. And the Rome initiative is primarily an undergraduate thing as well, where students for the same room, board, and tuition that they would pay on our American campus are able to go over and spend a semester in Rome. So that's a distinct thing as well. But yeah, we've got Rome now, we've got Phoenix. There's a lot happening.
Rome and Phoenix. Yes. Goodness. Okay, now, all right, to learn more about all this, okay,
Sure.
come to Mary.
ComeToMary.com.
ComeToMary.com.
ComeToMary.com. So our signature website is UMary, UMary.edu. That's our signature website. We've sort of, we're not sort of a boarding school. We're a university with more than 3,000 students. We have 55 undergraduate majors, 8 master's programs, and a doctorate in physical therapy.
I was just going to say, you got a tremendous physical therapy program.
We are a tremendous physical therapy program. It's great. It's hard to get into, but it's very great.
It's hard to get into. You're the best.
Right. So. We play NCAA Division II athletics, and the last ranking.
The Marauders.
The Marauders. The last ranking that I saw overall in Division II, we were about 19th in the nation. So we have serious sports, serious athletics going on our campus as well at the Division II level. And so we've got all of those things. And so that's all available at our signature website. And then at ComeToMary.com, we've grouped all of those things which have particular interest to faithful Catholic people. If you're a parent who's interested in making sure that your son or daughter can get a good Catholic education and a job afterward, ComeToMary.com is a place where you can find out an awful lot.
And everyone, I'm a concerned parent. I've got 20-some thousand students all running around ASU's campus. But Sun Devils and Marauders join hands. This is a tremendous new initiative. And Jim, we can't thank you enough for joining us today and telling us a bit about this tremendous new initiative that really could revolutionize Catholic higher education that has arrived in Arizona. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.